My Community in Words and Pictures, a Geographical Analysis of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by Bajena Barker. Philadelphia was founded on October 27, 1682, by William Penn, who purchased the land from the Lenape Indians. Philadelphia is the fifth largest city in the U.S., behind New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston, with a population of just over 1.5 million people as of the 2016 census. Philadelphia boasts a very diverse population. Philadelphia is made up of many diverse races and cultures. The pie chart to the right shows the general ethnic makeup of the city as of 2015. Philadelphia boasts many well-known landmarks, such as the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, the Rocky Steps, just to name a few. Although Philadelphia is a well-known tourist destination, it is also a target for crime. Philadelphia's crime rate is significantly higher than the national average. For example, in 2015, there were 247 murders in Philadelphia. This equates to 15.9 murders per 100,000 residents. I believe this is a result of tourism and a significant poverty level. As of 2015, the poverty level in Philadelphia has risen significantly. The map to the right shows how significantly poverty has risen since 1970. The only area that seems to have declined in poverty rates is Center City, which is largely made up of businesses with comparatively low residential areas. Although the median household income in 2015 is $38,253, according to the Census Bureau, 26.4% of Philadelphians were still living below the poverty level. This was well known above the national average, which according to Mark Gungloff of the Huffington Post in 2014 was only 14.5%. Despite the poverty level, Philadelphia has many educational opportunities. With 242 public and 84 charter schools in the 80 districts, we have over 150,000 students in grades K through 12. Opportunities for further education are also great, with 27 colleges within the city limits, and 80 if you include the surrounding areas. Colleges within the city limits include 6 postgraduate business schools, 5 law schools, and 5 medical schools, including the University of Pennsylvania, pictured here. Included in the diversity of Philadelphia is the fact that just under half of the population identifies as religious. Of that population, according to bestplaces.net, 25.9% are Catholic, but only 1.1% are Jewish. The rest of the religious population are of various faiths and denominations. According to businessclimate.com, the Philadelphia region has quite a few sustainable employers. For example, Jefferson Health System and the University of Pennsylvania both employ between 15,000 to 20,000 people each. Other major employers in the area are Merck & Company, Comcast Corporate, Lockheed Martin Corporation, Wells Fargo, Aramark, UPS, and Walmart, just to name a few. Helping all those employers get to their jobs, Philadelphia's transportation system is considerably vast. SEPTA transports over 1.1 million riders daily in over 1,100 buses, trains, trolleys, and CCT Connect vans for disabled riders. This network allows riders to commute nearly anywhere they wish to go, inside the city or the surrounding suburbs. It also lets the riders connect to other surrounding transportation systems, such as Amtrak and the New Jersey Transit. It should be noted that SEPTA continues to improve its accessibility for disabled riders with its accessible buses, trains, and train stops, and their CCT Connect vans for transportation to medical appointments and places of employment. In addition to our accessible transportation system, there is a multitude of organizations designed to provide various services to the Philadelphia community. Here's an abbreviated list. Philadelphia Corporation for Aging, JEVS Human Services, the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, Philabundance, the Ronald McDonald House, Meals on Wheels, Catholic Social Services, Action Wellness, formerly Action AIDS. There are many other significant interests in Philadelphia, such as our numerous sports teams, parties, and parades, like the Mummers Parade, Greek festivals, and annual Made in America festivals. We have had many cultural venues, like the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Kimmel Center, the Avenue of the Arts, the Philadelphia Zoo, the country's oldest zoo. Community analysis. According to the article, Seeking the Good Community, 2015, there are 9 key elements to consider when assessing a good community. These elements are safety, goods and services, relationships that bind citizens together, commonality of values and goals, whole person principle, predictability, a recognized place in the social structure, opportunities, and homogeneity. Well, we briefly discussed each of these factors as I have given a rating of how I think Philadelphia performs in the category. Safety rating, poor. Philadelphia is a large city with millions of people. A significant crime level does not permit for a confident level of safety. Therefore, it is highly recommended to lock your doors. Goods and services rating, very good. Since Philadelphia is such a large city with considerable diversity, the needs for goods and services appropriate to a wide level of diversity is available to address the needs of the elderly, disabled, those living below the poverty level, and other victims of circumstance. Relationships that bind citizens together. Rating, fairly good. There are minimal interrelationships with our neighbors. The opportunities to build those relationships does exist. Unfortunately, due to the significant differences of the cultural diversity, we often do not pursue those opportunities. Commonality of values and goals. Rating, fair. While I live in an area of Philadelphia that does have a large population of my cultural background, it is an area that is by no means exclusive to my culture. While there are many culturally related vendors and goods, people with similar cultural beliefs and values do not necessarily live next door to each other, limiting the opportunity to interact freely with cultural similar citizens. Whole person principle, rating, poor. Living in a large city is counterproductive to the feeling of being perceived as a whole person. Being a person with a disability in a cultural community that still perceives disabled persons as invalids make it nearly impossible to be perceived as a whole person. Predictability, rating, very poor. City life greatly limits predictability. Diversity in city life has resulted in a loss of familiar predictability in our daily lives, as unfamiliar cultures with greatly different belief systems clash in their attempt to assimilate into the community. A recognized place in social structure, rating, decent. I am an easily recognizable person in my community, being only 3'9" tall. However, most of the people who know me and recognize more that I am a social worker as they recognize I'm good at what I do. Opportunities, rating, great. One of the best things about living in a large city is that there are considerable opportunities for whatever your situation is. As this presentation repeatedly shows, there are opportunities to obtain services, employment, education, entertainment, travel, and more. Homogeneity, non-existent. Homogeneity within a large community is nearly impossible. Rather, it is near opposite of diversity. A large city is diverse in its occupants by nature. The author of Seeking the Good Community, 2015, quotes Gang's 1967 as saying that whereas a mixture of population types, and especially of rich and poor, is desirable within the community, heterogeneity on the block will not produce the intended tolerance, but will lead to conflict that is undesirable. Page 9. While diversity is sought after all over the globe, I believe it must be understood that within diversity comes conflict. Not necessarily intentional conflict, but a conflict that is a result of not understanding the various differences, cultures within our communities. Overall, living in a large city community does definitely have its advantages. I would have to admit that I would like to take any opportunity to move out of the city and live in a smaller community that offers a much better sense of a whole person principle, predictability, and homogeneity. In closing, while there are definite advantages to living in Philadelphia, I do not believe it is necessarily a good community. There is simply too much violence with a few relationships that bind people together. In a day and age where everyone seems to want the convenience of living in a large city, where everything imaginable is at your fingertips, or at the very least a short bus ride away, it seems that the desire to want to understand our neighbors and have relationships that bind us together is non-existent. I don't know what, if anything, can be done to change the community that I live in to make it a desirable one for me. Ideally, I would like to live in a community where everyone has the same core beliefs and values as I do, but also respects other cultures. Until that paradise can be achieved, I will strive to eventually move to a smaller, more intimate community.